Not much, man. Kind of a lot of the same, but, when's the last time we talked?
Seems like forever, but it's probably only like 2 or 3 months ago.
It was like 4 or 5 months maybe.
It wasn't that long ago.
Yeah.
Had I gone back to Egypt this year and
Yes.
brought the cat?
Yeah, you had just come back with a cat.
Okay,
New pussy, if you will.
I will. That would have been April or May then. Yeah.
Brent, I both hate and love you for that comment.
I love him for it.
I know.
So what did you name your new feline?
Well, I wanted him to have like an Egyptian name,
Mhm.
but also he lives here now in Kentucky. So he is.
Oh shit.
Yeah, this is God tier naming level. I'm just going to warn you. So his Egyptian name is we call him Osiris. That's his name. But his full name is Billy Ray Osiris.
That's good. I thought you were just going to go Osatucky or something like that.
That was fucking great.
Yeah, no, Billy Ray, he's got his own TikTok and everything.
Yeah, I've been following you on it.
I need to post more. I haven't posted lately.
That's funny.
He was always cleaning his ass on your shoulder.
Yeah, he just
It's like my favorite thing.
it's eating and licking himself. That's his whole life.
It's a good life. Sounds pretty good.
How are you wearing long sleeves? It is 1,000,000 degrees right
I
now.
know, I know. That's what I was saying before I was rudely interrupted. I went out in the heat, and I think I overheated. So now sitting in the air conditioner, it's like too cold.
Well, this is how our house is. We got a new heating and cooling system like when we moved here 2021, and then, or maybe it was 2022. It was somewhere. It was like real close to the end of 2021 or the beginning of 2022. So anyway, we got the new heating and cooling system, and then the thermostat.
Yeah.
So then we had one of the old ones, for a little while that was not digital. You just go up and.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And then they brought us this new one, and now it could be 81 in this house, and everyone is fucking freezing.
Woo.
81. I mean, and it'll be like 100.
Then your thermostat's
outside.
not right.
That was like Mandy's gift, like a year or so ago, was a thermostat she could control from her phone, because like our bedroom's
Nice.
upstairs, so you'd have to come all the way down.
Yeah, fuck that.
But I mean, it won't keep up right now. It's just hot as shit.
Yeah.
No, we've had the hottest days of the year these last few days.
Y'all guys don't know what hot is.
After
bitch.
last
guys are
week's
pussy
false
hot.
fall. Fuck you. It was like 100
No.
degrees plus humidity.
Dude, it was fucking 112, just fucking 112 with nothing else going on. Yeah, humidity. It's like the surface of the sun down here.
Yeah.
I mean, that's kind of like Egypt. I mean, they've got humidity, but like it'll be like 110, and it feels better than 80 feels at Kentucky because of our shit. Yeah.
We have a lot of moistness in the atmosphere in San Antonio area. It's moist.
You've been just trying to fit that word in, haven't you?
What? Moist?
Moist.
There's never a woman on this planet that likes that word. I've never met one.
I love to say it though. It almost sounds like another word if you say it slow enough. Like moist. It's like you're trying to say another word, but then you just say moist. Pretty cool.
Like Austin Powers in the mole.
Mole, 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 mole. But Josh is pretty witty because he pulls in pop culture from different decades every now and then.
I am force fed all this shit every day at work with the TV.
Some of it's good.
It is. It's you're kind of always a little bit in the know, but
Yeah.
you just think about what am I losing because I'm retaining this shit instead all day.
You're almost done, man. You're almost done thinking, so probably not much.
Yeah,
That was
You're
positive.
getting up there. Hey,
I am.
I'm your
He's
sunshine.
like my age, so shut the fuck up.
Wait, how old
Well,
are you again?
300.
42. Shut up.
Okay. So, hey, when I'm playing in Louisville in October 4th.
She won't come.
You won't, but it's my birthday. It's on my birthday.
I actually wasn't gonna come because I was supposed to be moving, but
But she's gonna
inflation
not
happened.
move now.
It's my birthday.
no. What day is the 4th on?
It's a Friday.
October
I
4th.
always
That's
work on
crazy.
Fridays.
Hold on, wait a minute.
10-4, good buddy.
No, you didn't.
My whole life I did.
That's pretty good. I can't blame you.
I'm looking at the calendar because we're supposed to go to in October. We're supposed to do. Okay, so everything is tentative.
Uh-huh.
We're supposed to go to Gatlinburg, Tennessee.
Nice. Have you been there?
No.
It's really commercial, but it's a fun little thing.
You know, when I
Is it
wanted,
like a vacation?
I have kids, so is anything really a vacation?
Well,
No,
is it supposed to be
just-
a family vacation? Because that's different.
Oh, that's a dirty word. And an actual vacation is getting to sit in a room by yourself and it's quiet and there's no one talking to you, asking you for something, asking you about how
That'll
you
never
feel
happen
about
until you're dead now.
something
You had
that
children.
You don't really have feelings about or even wanted to ever get your back on.
How many kids do you have again?
5.
Oh my god, that's a lot. No, I mean like thinking of like 5 more Brents throughout. That's nice, but that is a lot of responsibility.
The only one that is kind of really like me is the youngest one, and that's just because she's starting to use sarcasm. I don't know where she gets it from, but you know,
I can only imagine.
I can't. I mean, we have classes on it every day.
Let's get into that, Mr. 75 projects. We're only going to talk about 3.
I was really close to sending you because you talked about that before. Some of the other stuff that I do, but it's just we can't talk about it anyway.
Well, we've already been talking about fuck all for 26 minutes, so maybe we should do the show.
I'm wondering why you just didn't come out and say it when you did Smoke Weed, Hail Satan. I don't get it.
Why?
Why are you just beating around the bush? Why don't you just come out and say it?
That actually is the name of the first track of the album. It was the first.
We know.
Yeah. Okay. So here's the thing. I don't smoke weed. But the other guy that I did that with, he's like a fucking doctor in Canada. He's like a goddamn neuro something or other. It was his idea because we both do Starer was released by one of the same labels that one of his deals was released by.
Mm-hmm.
So he pitched it and he was like, I've always wanted to do this black metal stoner thing. But I was like, dude, stoner music generally has that. They all write about just fucking weed and shit. So I was like, I don't know how to write these lyrics. So he wrote the lyrics thinking it would be hilarious when I sang them, and it was. Yeah, so I don't claim any of that, but it's fun. It was what it's supposed to be, Is
that a bong rip in the intro to that song?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, that seems right now that you've talked about it.
So who did all the technical work on that song?
So basically he would send me stuff on guitar with some programmed drums and then send me some lyrics. He didn't even send me what notes he was playing. And that was a little time consuming, with no guidelines. I got to figure out what he's doing and then write shit to it. But then when he would send me lyrics, he would just send me words and just say, this is where I'm thinking is the verse and whatever. And so then I would make up my own melodies to it. And we just kind of shoot it back and forth. I mean, he did the heavy lifting for sure. He mixed it and all that stuff. But when he sent me the first song we did was Smoke Weed, Hail Satan. And I was like, okay, he wants me to go a little crazy on bass. Let me see what I can do. What's going to pass the test. And so I threw down this gnarly bass line on the first song. And he was like, yes, more of that. It's like, fuck yeah, okay. So I was like, but with stoner stuff, I was like, I can sing like the Sword type, the clean high vocals. I can't do the real gruff stuff. And so
he did a pretty fucking good job.
Appreciate it, man.
He did the gravelly stuff, right?
Yeah, he did that stuff.
Yeah, man. I was like, holy fuck. No, and that was mixed pretty cool too.
When I was doing the vocal parts, because he was going to do all the scream stuff, I was like, well, can I do layers, kind of make it like an Alice in Chains thing at times where you don't know which one's really the lead and which one's the harmony part. And then towards the end of that song when I had the 4-layered vocal part, that was my favorite thing. Was okay, there's some really strange chords in here with some of the falsetto notes making those weird obviously it's not like Freddie Mercury, but when you hear some of those Queen layers where you hear one note where you're just like, man, that was a weird one, but it was technically in key. Doing some stuff like that was a lot of fun with that one.
So was that
and
hard?
I only got to do it in spot. I recorded it all at home, so it was hard, but it was also if I wasn't feeling it, it was well, turn it off and try again tomorrow, Not like you're in a studio where you're kind of under a crunch. But no, one of the other things that I do a lot of vocal harmony parts to it, and so it's just kind of trial and error, I think that's kind of the beauty of recording at home, which I know you do, is you just, if you're not feeling it that day, you move on and or you just kind of keep experimenting until you find it, and there's no getting frustrated because you're spending dollars with every bad take,
That's true. Yeah, spending money makes me panic.
Like I love like if I was like having a really good day, like come home and I'm on lunch break and I'm like doing a vocal part in the kitchen and the dog's standing there, and nobody knows that, but it was fun.
So are you going to do more work with this project, or was it like a one and done?
He said we would, but Joe, he lives up in Canada and he's I think he's just kind of lonely by nature, like the town he's in, and like he's not married or anything like that. He lost one of his cats, and I know that was kind of a big blow to him. So he does a lot of music like I do, just kind of different things off and on his own. And we did one that was going to be like some other black metal thing that I think it was kind of working him through like a breakup. And then because of that, it put him in a bad spot and he shelved it. And I like put a lot of work into that one, and it was kind of like, fuck. So then he pitched me a death metal thing, which I'm not a death metal guy. And I worked on a couple tracks, and then I was like, man, this isn't my deal. And so I think he's got some other guys working on that one. But I think having the one that I put a lot of work into sort of just get shelved was like, I think I'm just going to do my own thing again for a bit, But, we recorded that Swamp Fiend album 2 years ago, and then it came out last year. So I don't know. I view it more as his baby, I guess. Like I'm not going to write a song and send it to him. I'm just going to, if he wants to do more, we will. But it was supposed to come out on vinyl as well, and that's not happened yet, so that it may not.
So why don't you just ask him so you can mix the one that you did all the work on?
He never finished it.
So
like,
why don't you finish it?
It was his deal.
So if you put work into it and you want to release it, see it through.
I think what I'm going to do is take some of the bass work and just reuse that, like kind of chop it. Yeah, chop it up. Like it won't be the same song structures, but like because I had some pretty cool shit on there. And so I'm like, I got so much shit to do. It's not really high up on the list,
Well, yeah.
Moist.
So I had actual questions. You two don't stay on topic.
No,
we're talking about the song and Moist.
And smoking weed and hailing Satan.
That's funny. When I saw it, I was just cracking up, man. I was just like...
it was like, when some of like the press was coming in, like some people were like, man, it's just, the title, it's cheesy, it's so on the fucking nose, like it's too on the nose. But then they were listening to it, and they're like, it's pretty good, though. I'm not going to hold that against it. It was pretty good.
Well, it's supposed to be that way. That's how it was written. Anytime you see that,
oh, yeah.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, okay, Swamp Fiend, okay. And then I got to the actual title of the track.
Did you listen to more than just the one song? I
have in the past. Today, I just listened to the one that you sent, Summoned in Smoke.
Okay. That was my favorite. I think his favorite was Smoke Weed, Hail Satan. There's one on there I wasn't crazy about, just the tone of it. But I have to admit, when it was about to be done, the sixth track, it's like the sort of bluesy instrumental jam. That was right after I got back from our anniversary trip, and one of my dogs had died, like while we were gone. And I just wasn't in. I kind of phoned it in. I was like, I just don't care, And it was kind of a shitty way for me to handle the ending track of like the album we worked on for months. But it was also like I'm over it.
Spent.
Yeah, but it's fine. It was a little blues jam. It didn't need to be some spectacular thing, like an outro.
So, fuck my life. So
Moist.
Into pieces.
now that'll be in my head all night. Thank you.
You started it.
So how many projects have you released over this year?
Do you have enough fingers?
Ooh, that's a tough question.
I feel like from my count, including Starer, it's 5, but I could be wrong.
I've
I bet
released
it's above that.
I released 3 in August, like one in the last 3 weeks. Starer was one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, if you
And
want,
you got some vinyl pressings coming out too.
I do.
I've been
Yeah,
trying to share those out.
I appreciate that. You know what? I keep a note thing on my phone because I can't keep track of shit. And I can tell you.
You obviously can keep track of shit if you've got this many projects. Hold on.
Well, I have to organize it. Now, what are you talking about? Like an exclusive, like this was an EP or an album? Because if I put out a single and it leads into it, but it's on the album, like I don't really count that as a separate thing.
No, I wouldn't count it as a separate thing either.
Let me see. I did 2 EPs in January. I did an album in February. I did one in March. I did an EP in April. I did a full album in June. I did a split in July. There was a live album in July. Then there was 3 that came out the last 3 weeks.
So that's like almost
in August,
11
and
or
then
12.
I've got one in September, and that's kind of where it's at right now. But that's kind of the nice thing when you work on your own shit. You know, like you can just put this out in a couple of weeks. It doesn't matter. If it's something that has a label attached to it, that's one thing. But if it's just like fucking around or one of them that like I control myself that's not on somebody else's label, you know, it can be like, just throw that out there. Who cares? See what it does. But that's why I don't put my name on all that shit, you know, because if somebody saw like, oh, it's that guy again, like I feel like the interest would kind of plummet a little bit, you know, like it's just overkill.
Because they wouldn't give it a chance. They would think, oh, it's just like Starer, it's just like blah blah blah. When they're all very very different.
But they're the
Most of them
same. They're the same at the same time. That's what's so weird. Because listening to all of his stuff, I can get even the Mega Darling stuff. I could tell it was you.
Mega Darling and Dos Cobras are not anywhere near the same.
But there are similarities if you listen to it. You have to like, because he has things that he does.
Okay.
And so you have to listen to him a lot. But after you get used to that, you're like, okay, that's Josh doing that.
You're absolutely right, because there's been a few times when like some of my friends will be like, that one sounded kind of like you. And there was one recently where somebody actually emailed one of my labels and they were like, hey, is this one the same guy as Starer? Because I know he does some stuff, and I heard the bass stuff, and I'm like, fuck, he picked up the bass and thinks that that's the same guy? Like he did that detective work? And I mean, we fucking lied to him, you know. You know what I mean?
Of course, no, it's not. I don't know. It's a totally different guy.
But no, you're absolutely right, though. Like you have those tendencies, the way you slide into a chord, or you know, I think everything in a major key sucks. You know, stuff like that. Like you just have your patterns and stuff, and you have to like intentionally try to break out of them, because if somebody like Brent, you've heard so much of it, like you notice those things, and yeah. It's
kind of cool though that you're taking this stuff. Like, and you probably don't even realize it. You're probably just like, especially when you get into the I'm over it mode, and pretty much every project you get into that at some point where you're just like, fuck, you know, and you're just like, and that's when you reach into your old bag of tricks and you're like, you know?
Well, the funny thing is, like, in my mind, like, if I can't separate them, you know, be it a theme or a sound, then like I don't think I should be doing another one. You know, if it doesn't have its own identity to some degree. And so I've got a couple that I think are almost kind of a little too close to a couple different things, and those are the hardest ones to intentionally write, because I'm like, well, I accidentally formed this one out of like unused ideas. So can I intentionally recreate that vibe or whatever? And that, to me, that's the most difficult part. And those 2 in particular that I have like that are 2 that go over pretty well. And so then I start getting in my head of like, fuck, you know, like, can I recreate that again?
Why don't you bring in a co-writer when you get stuck?
Nah. It slows it down.
Well, yeah, but you're not going to go fast anyway because you're stuck.
If I'm stuck, and that's kind of the nice thing about having a bunch of different ones. I just move over to another one. And then,
you think that helps? So that helps you keep from getting stuck in the writer's block loop where you're like, I think I have an idea, then you play it and you're like, no, that didn't work, and then you just keep going and going and going, like you spiral. If you're jumping from like to something that's a completely different sound, a completely different genre, it pulls you out of it, kind of.
I like two of the strategies that I use is like when I write an album, I will always leave something behind. So when I want to come back to that one, I've got something to sort of start on. It may not be a full song, but it's just like little ideas. So it'll help me get back into like that mental space. But there's that, and there's just I don't stop, like, because it's fun, you know. It's like it's not like work, you know. It's just like I enjoy it. So like when I come home, I'll just fuck around for a little bit, and the next day I'll fuck around again, and so you never really take that break where you're kind of feeling like, okay, I need to get back in. How do I get back in? It's like I just, you know, you sort of stay in, and you get stuck on one, you move to another one, and some days it's not there, but it's not like I'm just, hey, I'm going to take a break for a month and relax or something. I don't know. No, it's my workflow at least.
I'm always writing. I mean, even if I'm not physically doing it, and now it's so innate in me. I'm listening to stuff all the time, and not just phrases, how people say stuff, how people sing stuff, different styles of music, and how I can take it and bastardize it. That's what I really like to do. So I'd like take one of your songs and try to make it like bluegrass or something.
Dude, that's the thing. I love that because like I feel like if you're going to cover something or whatever, like you can do a straight cover live. But yeah, if you're going to actually record it or whatever, like, yeah, you have to change it. And I do think that's the fun part of just totally like, what is that's a metal song? Turn it into a post-punk song or something like that.
Yeah, because like we do Lady Gaga song.
Nice.
And no one knows what I kind of make it more of a kind of like a blues rock kind of song till you hit the chorus. You know, so it's just, it is what it is. And I don't sing anything like her. So there's another thing. So until I hit the chorus, they're like, this is kind of weird. Did he just say something about a vertical stick? You know?
Yeah, they're just like, do I know that?
And then they hit the chorus, and then they're like, he's singing the chorus wrong. But am I singing it wrong?
You know what's funny about that? I started some of these during COVID, you know, during lockdown when like my bands weren't playing. That's where I started a good chunk of this shit that I do. Like Mega Darling came from that. I covered a Taylor Swift song throughout that, and my wife is a huge Swiftie. And like a friend here in town was like, I will pay you to cover. So I did one, and I turned it into the same song. I turned all of them into like these like, you know, post-punk songs. And I flubbed one fucking word in the pre-chorus. It was like, I don't remember what the phrasing was, but like Mandy was just like, that's not the word. And I'm like, I did the whole song different, and you noticed the one word I fucking flubbed. Like, give me a break.
I mean, you could also just
Swifties are another animal though.
True.
Like they're not, you're not sliding that one past them.
I don't think I would ever do a Taylor Swift song.
I liked my version, and what was awesome about it was I don't remember what the chords were. I think it was like A and G or something. And I had this really busy bass line, this do 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 kind of thing. And so I would play one pass, and then I would do the other chord, and I drop tune my A string, I think, to a G, so I could like bounce off of the G. And it was like, this is technically unplayable, but it sounds great and then who cares? Because I'm not going to play it live. But it was like, yeah, how the fuck would anybody play that?
That's their problem.
Yeah, not my problem.
Yeah, I think I wanted to do that song. I think it's by Miley. I Can Buy Myself Flowers. I was gonna do that, but then
it's a good song.
Reddick from Bowling for Soup did it, and I was like, God damn it, because that's what I was hearing, like a Bowling for Soup version of that song.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I could do this and play it live, and then he did it, and then I was like, fuck it, good feeling gone.
Yeah.
I mean, he didn't know I was working on it. I'm sure he didn't care either.
He doesn't know who you are.
Oh, he has an idea of who I am. I've emailed him enough. He's asked me to stop emailing him.
He was like, I'll fucking solve this guy's problem. I'm gonna cover that shit before he does.
But
let's talk about another one of your projects. Now, we've talked about this project before. You said you weren't sure. We have the Dos Cobras. We haven't talked about this song because it's unreleased.
I couldn't remember if we talked about this one before or not, but
why is it unreleased? Is it just you haven't gotten to it?
Yeah, that band's in a weird spot because JD, you know, we're a two-piece. He lives an hour and a half south, and just the complications of that. So we had a shitload of songs written, and we recorded, you know, just various sessions, and we're kind of at the point now trying to figure out like what's going to go on an album or an EP or what, and we've got so many. And I I'm the drummer, but also like we did one album that I did all the music to, and he just did vocals on it. But usually with the band, I play drums and we like arrange stuff, and I'll do some backing vocals, but it's a little bit more his thing. So with that, it's just kind of, he's got a daughter that's fucking 7 now. And so, it's just kind of the spot he is in life. He's a little older than me as well. So I'm kind of like, man, I got all this other shit going on. Like, you kind of take charge on this. That's like his main project. So
that's a cool name, Dos Cobras.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly how we landed on it, but we were just like, we're 2 Cobra brothers, and it was just, that is what it is. But the funny thing about that song, though, like when we recorded it, there's clearly more than 2 guys playing on that. So he went in and did some overdub sessions on a day that I couldn't go. And then I hear it back and I'm like, who the fuck is on this song? Like playing steel guitar and shit. Like, and I know the guy, but like, I didn't know that was going to happen. And so I heard it back and I'm like, man, this shit's fucking awesome. We can never pull that off live, But
that was so great. There's no way.
Yeah. It sounds good. Your drum playing, I was surprised. I thought you would, don't take this the wrong way.
Sure, no.
I thought you would sound like a bass player playing drums, but you had some good stuff going on.
Thank you.
I was like, wow, he doesn't totally sound like a bass player trying to play drums.
I played drums for a pretty long time. I'm not like, fucking Danny Carey or nothing like that, but like the band that I played.
You can do it though. Yeah, you can do it.
Well, I played in the band for a long time, and they were really into like more proggy stuff, and like that's when I started playing drums. Like I was in a punk band and then that, and so they really pushed me, and I was like, well, I got to keep up. And so I developed a way of playing. It was a 5-piece band with keyboards and shit, so I played really tight stuff because there was just everything else was filling the space. Closed hi-hat. Really, like I knew exactly what I was playing at all times because you get to a show, you don't have good monitors. I need to know where I'm at. Everything was very strict. And then we got the Cobras as a 2-piece, and I'm like, I got to fill the space up, open the hi-hats up, crash more, play bigger beats, I guess, play more fills. And so it's kind of been a weird, like, trying to adapt my style to it, even though we've been doing the band for a number of years now. I feel like it's still, like, sometimes figuring it out. Mm-hmm. But the awesome thing about that band is, like, the first album we did, we recorded it straight to tape, which is the only time I've ever done that. And I don't think you've ever done it. Yeah, it's a fucking nightmare sometimes. And so we had this one song that we kind of, like, rewrote in the studio because we were struggling. And he hit the most, like, sour chord sliding into it. This but because I got a good drum take, he left it. And I'm like, God damn, man. Like, that is the ultimate bandmate. He played the worst. He played the note next to the note that he wanted to play and left it on the album because I got a good drum take. And so that with that band, it's a little more loose. Like I never play the same thing twice, which is not really my style. But for that band, it works pretty well because you can and there's no third guy. There's no bass player to get lost and then play a bad note that's going to clash with the guitar. It's just like, every now and then we'll look at each other and it's like, I don't know what's going on. Like, doesn't matter. Nobody's going to clash with us. We're together.
That's funny.
But that song I sent you, Dust, it's got a lot of layers and shit. And I think we're just kind of at a weird spot where we're like, because it started more punkish and now it's getting I don't really know what that song is. Kind of stonery, I guess, but
yeah, I was gonna say
kind of heavy.
It's like
it reminded me of Dio
vibe. I like the weird samples that you have on top of like the dark guitar riffs. That was pretty dope.
That was another surprise for me when I heard it mix.
Yeah. Oh, you didn't know those were there?
No.
Surprise.
Well, the funny thing is, like, every now and then, like, I think because he and I are both so, like, laid back, when we write something, if I don't quite understand what he was getting at, like, with an arrangement, he won't necessarily correct me. And so then we'll just play it this way. And then when it comes time to go to a studio, he's like, yeah, it didn't go like that. It's this. And I'm like, what? So the version, like, the arrangement of that part with all those samples and stuff, like, yeah, I've got that sort of tribally drum beat, and then it'll do a snare roll and hit a crash. I don't know the arrangement of that. I had to write it down on my phone. Like, I haven't memorized it. So the next time we play that song live, I'll be like, which way are we doing it? The way we always did it live or the way we recorded it? Because I don't know the way we recorded it.
Yeah.
That's funny.
And then you send it back, and it's got different shit on it. And so you get what you get, and you don't throw a fit when you play live.
That's funny because my band gets frustrated sometimes because I was like, okay, this song isn't, my originals, I was be like, this is how we play this song, but I pulled this entire part out.
Really?
Or I'll say something like, "Hey, this is a guide. This isn't how we're gonna actually play the song." So it's just funny when I do that to him.
cigarettes to retire? Why's my house on fire? Where are my cigarettes to retire?
Oh, there she is.
I'm trying to get her for you, but it's not quite working.
I can't even see you, man.
Yeah, at least I'm.
There
Well,
she is. He's trying to show the animals
yeah.
to the other animal person.
Well, she came out, and I don't know if it's just like the way this background thing works. It was like facial recognition, but it wasn't picking her up.
It's R. She's still doing good.
She is doing pretty good. That was actually kind of a big thing that happened over the summer. Was, she was technically diagnosed with like early kidney failure last year, and I took her in March or April, and then I waited until like late last month because we went to visit my stepdad down at the beach, and I was like, I don't want to get a bad result and have that on me, so we did it afterward, and like nothing's changed. So the vet was like,
better, but she didn't get worse. So that's
right. Yeah. So the vet was like, I don't even know if she's got kidney failure, maybe more like just kidney disease. So we're not even into that yet, which, I mean, for a year into it's fucking amazing. But both dogs will be 15 in December. And
they're not young. I just still have the same two little fur babies.
Where's she at?
We're
in that mode with all the
you show
fucking
your face, cat.
flies and mosquitoes where I'm like, dog, you want to go in the house? You got 2 seconds to get in that door. And then you're staying out in the heat with me because I don't want like a whole swarm of fucking flies to get in.
Right. It's awful. I love it when the cat gets off my lap and then looks at me like I'm the asshole.
Like you did something.
chose to get down.
All right, there you go. Get in there. All right. That's the funny thing, like, because we've got, 4 cats as well. I mean, kind of a 5th cat, but he's outdoor. He's like neighborhood guy. But when I was sick last week,
Porch Panther.
Yeah, that's a good name.
My best friend has several now. She's adopted all the stray cats in the neighborhood because she feeds them.
Well, the person in my neighborhood that adopted all the stray cats is moving, and that's that's who my cat has been hanging out with.
Right.
So yeah, but no, it's like you see that other side of cats when you're sick. Like when I was sick last week and I'm like quarantined in the guest room, and like this cat that normally, like, she's a sweet little cat, but she does her own thing.
But she could give 2 fucks.
Oh, she was glued to me for like 4 days, and I'm like, I love this cat so much.
My cat, the white one, she would just live on my lap if given the opportunity. Like if I had like a baby carrier thing, she would get in it willingly and just go everywhere. I'm trying to leash train them. She's been really easy, except once you get her in the harness, she doesn't like that part. But like when I come back from a hike and like my blood pressure's up or I haven't eaten, it's my daughter's cat. She'll jump on the back of the chair and just fucking stare at me like, you haven't eaten, stupid. I can smell it. You don't smell right, dumbass. Your heart's beating funny. And she'll sit there and she'll like until I remedy the problem. It's funny because otherwise she doesn't care about me at all.
Well, we've got this one cat that's like obsesses with wanting to go outside, and we can only let her out when we're out here because otherwise she like climbs the fence and like takes off and whatever.
Yeah, ours want to be outside, but I live in town. That's not happening.
Yeah. Well, we put this one in a harness because she's a big cat, and then suddenly she's like paralyzed. You're like,
they all do that. They flatten out.
Yeah.
My daughter said it's because when it's their instincts, when something like a bird is to grab them, they grab them in the same place we put the halter. So their instinct is to become dead weight.
Ah, okay.
So they just have to get used to it. And mine's gotten pretty used to it. Hers just, she turns into roadkill. It's fucking hilarious. Just like a roach. When you turn on the light, they flatten.
Yeah.
That's what they're like.
It's funny.
Well, so to go back for a second, just to tell a funny story. It's the outdoor, the one that wants to go outdoors. That with Mandy being a Swiftie, she went to the Nashville shows, the last one that got rain delayed.
Yeah.
So like it got super, super delayed. I get up for work at 3 a.m, so that's the time she's getting home.
Oh shit!
It's like Monday morning at like 3:30. So she goes upstairs, goes to bed, and I'm getting ready for work, and she texts me like, "Hey, I think I left the garage door up." And she did, and that cat was gone.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and so I'm having to call work like, hey, I can't come in until who knows when because my cat's gone. And we're now at 4 o'clock in the morning walking through the neighborhood with flashlights in people's yards looking for our cat because Taylor Swift got rain delayed. Cat showed back
Taylor.
up. She shows up, 5 minutes later, looking on the driveway, looking at you like, what are you doing?
What? Why are you calling me?
Yeah, go to work, asshole. What are you doing?
Why are you fucking here? I was supposed to sneak back in.
To be gone. You're late for work.
Yeah, how can you buy me food if you lose that job? If this is my second Colt 45, is that technically a Colt 90?
We can't stay on topic with Josh. And I've done it. You've done it. It's just what it is.
I don't even try.
What are your plans for 2025?
I've got a lot of stuff going on. I assume the Cobro stuff at this point, it's basically September, will probably not be out till next year. I kind of don't like releasing shit in November or December. Sometimes not even October. It just the way music people are, they kind of like are already thinking of my best dubs and whatever, and they almost ignore the
New
last
stuff,
2 or 3
yeah.
months. Yeah. With Bahargam, we're in a weird spot right now with our drummer and just kind of what are we doing, but we've been working on stuff. So hopefully that would be out next year. Hopefully the Cobro stuff. I've got almost 2 Starer albums just in the can,
Ready,
but
waiting.
Yeah.
That's insane to me. That's just insane.
That's 3 different projects.
So let me ask.
Jesus Christ.
I
Joel,
mean-
let him finish. He's not done.
Okay.
No,
Keep going.
no,
Go ahead.
I mean, there's like some of the anonymous stuff. I've got some of that stuff around. Primeval Well, I'm doing that tour with them in October, and I've been in the band for over 2 years, but I'm not on any of the recordings. So I'm a little antsy to like, hey, let's get on
Let's
something.
get
So
some new stuff done. Yeah.
yeah, I think the tour is gonna be pretty big for us, like with just connections, like the booking agent and stuff like that. So I think they're kind of not wanting to rush anything, like set their eyes on like a bigger prize. Meanwhile, I'm like, guys, I'm fucking 43 pretty soon. Like, let's get it going.
Right.
So I think next year could be pretty good for that band. And obviously, I'm keeping things a little loose, just thinking about our dogs, because I'm like, I don't want to be gone, and I just know how fucking devastating that's going to be, which is also part of why I've kind of piled stuff up a little bit, because I'm like, I know from losing pets in the past with just how I am as a person, like it's gonna, you just kind of stop giving a fuck for a while. And I'm like, well, let me just pile some shit up, especially like with my Egyptian dog. Like that's like 90% of
baby,
my,
yeah.
that's like my identity. And it's gonna fucking suck. So I've got a lot of stuff kind of piled up, and we didn't talk about Mega Darling much, but that's
We
one
haven't gotten
that-
to it yet.
We're not done yet. Settle
Okay.
down.
Yeah.
Well, I'd kind of been out of the mode with that because it's not one of the more like popular things. I don't really listen to EDM, so I don't know that it's even good EDM or whatever. It's just fun to do. But when I have stuff that's like making me money or has fans, and then I have one that doesn't, it's hard to go to that one, especially when it's not one that's like really part of me. However, since we've been talking about doing this, and I was going to give you guys a song last week when I was in bed sick all week, I fucking watched
Sorry.
the Matrix movies, and
Yeah,
I heard
nice.
all the EDM and all this the shit.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh yeah. So like I wrote a Mega Darling song last week, and I was
Nice.
like, I'm kind of getting back in. But I think with that, it's more of singles or EPs. We don't need to do albums.
No. So
Yeah.
let's talk a little bit about that track, and I'm gonna let Brent pronounce it.
Let's hear it.
Back up.
So
No.
the very
I'm
first
just-
Mega Darling song, the first one we ever did, before it was even a project, I wrote the whole thing and did it on my phone on the flight to Malta in 2020. And I played it for Mandy, and we did there's like very little vocal parts, but
Yeah.
we did them like with these headsets, like on the fucking plane, like, hey, say this into this, not too loud because we don't want anybody to look at us, but and so it was a fun little thing we did. That was, early 2020. So I kind of expanded the first bit of it during COVID. And then it did have a little bit of a bass at first. So then when we did the album that track us that you guys came from, I thought that album was actually pretty good, but I don't know how to market that. I don't know how to,
Well-
you can't play live with it unless you're just going to press a fucking button and dance around, So I don't know
Well,
how EDM
DJs could
concerts
mix
work.
it. DJs
Sure.
could mix it. That has a nice vibe. It's very old school. Like it's very in an abandoned warehouse somewhere in San Francisco or New York City, like underground. I really liked the bass line in that a lot. I like electronic music though. So
Okay. The
like-
weird thing with that one is like Mandy thinks more of it as like house music type stuff.
Yeah.
And I think more
Yeah.
of like the Prodigy or something like that.
yeah,
So
I
I'm
could
thinking,
definitely hear the mixture of that in there, of those two styles together. Now that you said that.
yeah, like I'm thinking
Yeah, I
more of
can
like
both
those like
elements.
more complicated drum beats or whatever. Like I want this to be played in like the Blade Blood Rave, you know what I mean? Where she's like,
And
I want it to
she's
be
like,
played
I'm
in
in
a
a
clothing
warehouse.
store.
Yeah, I'm having
Yeah.
fun. Yeah.
I liked
I'm a
it.
little
I
older.
like.
I think I'm older than your wife because I was like,
Yeah,
have I danced to this somewhere before? Did we have a
she's
meet point
37.
and then another meet point? I thought that was close. About close. You know, you had the poster or you had the flyer and you had to drive to the meet point to get to the next spot because it was super fucking illegal. And then you'd have to lug all your records. It was fun. I make it sound like it's not, but it was actually
No, those
just-
were
it was a lot of fun.
You sound
Those-
just
that-
like a musician.
that was a moment in time, like that whole scene in that regard.
That's how I learned to DJ. That I still have gear for that I never use. That I won't get rid of.
DJ this fucking Mega Darling shit. I don't care.
I fucking would. It's actually pretty sick.
Interesting. I like the bass part. When it first comes out, I was kind of like, okay, that sounds like bass, but it also sounds like something else.
I'm gonna pull that track up because I can't remember offhand how that even goes. I sent you guys Kiki Styley, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Kiki
Okay.
Styley.
Yeah, you
That
did
in-
say it right, Brent. I was trying to set you up to say it wrong, but you
Well,
said it
I
right.
mean, he kind of spelled
Oh,
it in an
yeah.
easy way. Yeah, the
So that-
bass part is like the first thing out the door.
Yeah.
That's good.
That whole album is named after one of our cats. Every song. We have a cat. Her name's actually Gorgar, but we call her Kiki.
Gorgar.
Yeah, Gorgar. From the old pinball machine. Yeah.
That's funny.
But we call her Kiki. And when she's sweet, she's Kiki. When I come outside and there's a dead animal on the porch, she's Gorgar.
So Mega Darling is the group that you do with your wife.
Yes.
And by the way, I did try those egg thingies. Those are amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah, they were really good. Tell her they were good.
Maybe one day we'll get her on here. We'll try again.
I want more of Mega Darling because it's so different than I mean, none of the stuff that you do is the same, but like Brent said, he can still pick it out. But Mega Darling to me is like all the way over here, and
it is very
really
much over there.
outside of it. Is it outside of your comfort zone to make, or do you feel like
No, it's
just another
not.
thing?
Like I'm not always in that like
Right.
space, you know. I wouldn't say it's like out of the comfort zone. I'm just not always in that like mental space. Like when I get into it, it's kind of like anything else. Like I can really just dive in, but
Mhm.
it's hard for me to initially take that plunge from where the other stuff is doing well and that one doesn't have such a base. And I'm like, why do I want to, take the time away? But I do have a lot of fun with it. I think the thing is like, I really enjoy that like Mandy and I have something that we can do together with it.
Yeah.
And like there's one track where she did the vocal part on the plane, but then on that second album there's one where like I actually wrote some lyrics and all the lyrics are about the fucking pets. And
For
I was just
Sarah.
like, I was like, I need you to sing this. So I've got like a couple vocals. I need you to have one in with it. And so that was really out of her comfort zone to like put the headset on and like sing, in front of me. And she's a good singer. It's just not her deal. And so like I want to get more involved with that type of stuff. Like there's a guy locally who he claims to be our biggest fan, and if we have any fans at all, it probably is him. Like he crashed our wedding wearing a Mega Darling hoodie, and I'm like, you spent
Nice.
more money on that hoodie than I've spent on the whole fucking thing.
That's
But he does a little music festival, and he's doing one in October. It's in like Adams, Tennessee, and it's when I'm going to be on tour. But I was like, hey, you've never invited me to play your festival, man. But I understand. Like the type of music I play is usually heavier. It's not for that. But he was like, well, what about like a late night like Mega Darling rave after the whole deal?
Nice.
And I'm like, I would love to do that. I can't this year
Not
because
sure.
But I mentioned it to Mandy, and I'm like, we'd almost have to like write more songs with some vocal parts, so we're not just pressing play and dancing around or whatever. Like I don't know how EDM works in a live setting. I do everything on my iPad, so I'm not gonna have like a full keyboard out there reenacting some of it. So I don't know, Mega Darling, in that sense, it is a little bit like I don't fully know what to do with it sometimes. And I think EDM is like one of those deals where like, because it's all electronic, anybody with a fucking phone can make it. It may not be good, but they can do it. And so it's just like it's such an oversaturated deal where I don't know how to pitch it the same way I do my other stuff, like how to get a review or a feature or whatever, So in that regard, it is kind of over there. Like I struggle with it a little bit, but making it is just, it's like anything else, I guess. It's all in a fucking minor key, so
Everything you do is.
major key sucks.
That's
Why do you
you
say that? No, I need to
Brent.
know.
Brent, let's get your opinion.
Yeah.
I think because you don't like it, you should. You know?
No, I don't know.
Yeah, I think you should. I think you should try it. I think
No. That's
I
not
think
gonna
you
So-
should find a place when you're doing it, like in a song that you're stuck on, and just fucking do it.
So there's two things with it. I used to be in a ska band when I was like in
Oh,
high
okay.
school and college.
Yeah.
So yeah, everything's
Nice.
like everything's happy and whatever.
Yeah. Bouncy.
Yeah. So that was the major key stuff. But when I was like really getting into black metal and I was trying to like dissect it, because that's how my brain works, is just like, what are they doing and whatever.
Mhm.
And I was listening to some of it. You think maybe it's all minor chords, and sometimes it is. But sometimes if you take everything that you do and make it a major chord, it's out of key, and so then it sounds kind of fucked up too. So like if you listen to like Immortal or whatever, if you start looking up the actual chords he's playing, sometimes they're all major chords. But because like it's not supposed to be all major to stay in key, it's like, oh god damn, that sounds fucking rough, And so there is a little bit of a major element, I think. But as far as like a song in like A major or whatever, like, man, that's just not happening.
No, you should try it. It'd be interesting. Because you could always do something weird with it.
I mean,
know?
sure, like if you have like so my band Chest Rockwell, we have a song. It's coming out of a bridge, and it's on an I think it's an F sharp major, and then the
Mhm.
chorus. So that's the last chord. The chorus, the first note is an F sharp minor. So you just same chord, just drop that in one note, and I'm like, ooh, that was a good change. That was a good use of a major there.
Yeah.
But I don't know,
You're-
man.
You're talking about major notes, not major chord progressions, correct?
No, just major keys in general. I just don't like them. Like, I think I'm just a little sad man, like, I just don't like happy shit.
I try to do things like,
Same.
I hated the F chord for so long
I hate trying to play it. I can't.
because it was like the Beatles would have like this awesome song and then they would fucking throw in an F major. And I'm like, I don't want to play an F major, but now I have to if I'm going to play this fucking song.
Yeah.
But so I hated F for a long time. And this was when I didn't know I didn't like F. I just didn't like the Beatles. And I couldn't figure out why until I started learning their songs. And I was like, it's that fucking F. That F major they throw in.
So is that
They're
a tonal thing? Like it's the tonal whatever of an F major you don't like?
I like it now, and I've started using it more.
Were you just starting guitar then? Because I hate
it-
that card.
No, it
I
was
hate
when
it.
I didn't play at all. It was
'Cause
just
it's
like
a
I
hard
did not
chord.
like the Beatles. So then later on, I was like, okay, they do some cool shit.
Yeah, they do.
So, and it's very diverse.
Yeah.
It's so diverse, and I was just like, what the fuck? And so then I went through and picked out all the songs I liked as an older person, and I was like trying to figure out why I did not like it when I was younger. And it's that fucking F major. Because everything else when I was playing it was cool. And then I was like, because I always like G, C, E minor, B7, and B7 is not particularly easy to play when you're a new player, or even, B flat or
You're listing
sharp,
all the
whatever
reasons
you
I
wanna
no
call
longer attempt to play guitar.
but it's that fucking F major.
All of those.
That they always sometimes it's an F sharp major, but still, I was like, that's got to be why I didn't like the Beatles, and I think it was just my palate at that point in time. I just did not. It didn't make sense when I was listening to it. Now,
Sure.
Metallica play the shit out of that chord, and I'd love it. It was just something how they used it in the major keys,
Yeah.
something. I still don't fully understand it, but I did not like the way it sounded at that point in time. And I'm talking like when I was 5 to maybe not 20, but 5 to 18, 19. And then once I really got serious or kind of serious about guitar, that was when I was kind of like, okay, they're doing something interesting here. How did they get to this point? So, but just listening to it when I first heard it, I just was like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah. I'm still not a big Beatles fan. I respect the Beatles a lot. But no, I know what you mean. There's a lot of like stuff that like when you get past the I want to hold your hands shit, when you're like, oh, wait a minute, there's a whole other fucking band there.
They're all over. Yeah, they're all
yeah, and as like a mature musician, you're like, wait a fucking minute. But I'll send you this, man. I actually did a cover of Paperback Writer, which is a really
that is my favorite Beatles song.
Well, I won't finish my sentence then but I did a cover of it, and yeah, I'll send it to you.
Did you hate it? Did you hate that song?
I just think it was like, especially lyrically, it's just kind of dumb. You know what I mean? Like it wasn't.
Lyrically, it's dumb, but the guitar riff on that song is fucking badass. I love the guitar riff.
I totally changed it. Like, I mean, I say totally, like, it's just the same notes, but like, instead of being like, I don't remember what they are now, but if it was like A major and fucking D minor or whatever, I put that like Phrygian scales and shit, the white guy playing Arabic music scales, stuff like that. And since I wrote a book, I kind of changed the lyrics to be about me trying to be a writer. And I did a video for it where play through of all the instruments and stuff like that. But I'll send it to you. It's good to know that you like that one.
Send it to me. That's like in Strawberry Fields. And I like Strawberry Fields a lot. But I think I like all the dissonance they did in that song. And Eleanor Rigsby, I like that one too.
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good, yeah. I'm a big fan of Hey Bulldog. That's a good song.
Okay. Yeah, anything with strings, I'm in. Weird instruments like strings, tubas, trombones.
Like when they got into like the sitars and all that shit.
I like that, but that to me is more metal. Sitars, when you bring in sitars and stuff. I don't know.
But like George,
all of them were like these badass musicians and talented, even though some of them didn't get as much recognition as the others. Yeah. But it's amazing the body of work they put out. Like,
it's such a short period of time in the big picture.
It's amazing what they put out. And even after they weren't together, they still put out a lot of music.
Like recently I read a thing, like I'm not as big of a Chili Peppers fan as I used to be. That was like the band that kind of got me into playing music. But like Flea it was a recent article. He was just like, Paul McCartney's the best bass player of all time. And I'm like, you know what? I remember hearing that growing up and just think, oh, it's a fucking Beatles, whatever. But then when I got older and I listened beyond, I'm just like, he's probably right. Like just his sense of melody and shit like that. Like, yeah, I didn't appreciate that for a long time.
Yeah, and it carried over into his piano playing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey Jude is probably my favorite. I know it's more mainstream, but like
what was
when it's Hey Jude is probably my favorite. It's just so genius. Like the whole fucking chord is na 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 na, and like you can make an entire arena sing it back at you. That's fucking sick.
Well, I like the Olympics, and I when I watched that when he did that was at 2012, and I was just like, Jesus Christ, could you imagine? You wrote a song. Playing at the Olympics when you're like 70 years old and the entire fucking world is singing along to it. Yeah.
And it's a good song from a musician's point of view. It's because I feel like it's written from a musician's point of view. Take a sad song and make it better.
Yeah.
I was like, only a musician would write that. I really liked it. I don't know. I heard it.
Have you ever heard those like YouTube videos where people took songs in like major keys and put them in minor or minor keys? Oh, man, there's one of Hey Jude like that. It's fucking weird.
Is it?
Yeah.
Kill it for me? I really like that song.
And this was like, this is probably 10 or 15 years ago, so AI was.
And Eleanor Rigby is my second one, Brent. We are so off topic.
Well, before I forget, on that topic of the changing the keys, somebody took Don't Worry, Be Happy, and this is like 10 years ago, so this isn't new. And they put it in a minor key, and it's called Be Worry, Don't Happy. And I highly recommend you spend a few minutes with that one.
That sounds like my brain when the cortisol spikes every morning.
Sounds like when somebody took Smash Mouth and made every single note a C, and you're listening to it like, Jesus Christ, what is fucking happening?
You want to hear something funny? My bass player, we just got a bass player. So,
I wish in an alternate universe I could be your bass player.
Oh, it would be
Yeah,
fun.
they do have fun.
Because
they do really have a lot of fun.
Yeah. But he came in and he was like, all your songs are like 3 chords. And I was like, all my music, everyone's supposed to be able to play. There's not supposed to be a single thing that's difficult in the music I play. And he's like, well, even your covers. And I go, yeah, I pull chords out of the covers because you don't need them to do the song. I was like, some people put so many chords in a song, it's just masturbation. I was like, I'm going to do as few chords as possible because there's going to be some kid that wants to know how to play and they're going to get discouraged because they love this song and there are 1,800 chords in it.
Yeah.
And they're doing a Ray Canes. But anyway, because
you
Ray
had to get him somehow.
that motherfucker. He'll do a song that's 2 chords, and rather than do the 2 chords in first position, he'll do all these fucked up inversions. And I'm like, I could have done that song so much easier than you just did it. And he's like, yeah, but you can't play what I can play. And I go, doesn't matter. I can.
But did he make it sound cooler?
It was way cooler.
All right.
When he does shit, it's just see. And so the songwriter in me is like, when I deal with Ray, is like, why? But then the guitarist lover in me is like, go fucking do it. Just show me some crazy shit. So I get conflicted with Ray because he is one of my favorite guitarists. But anyway, was talking to my bass player. My bass player goes, man, all your songs are like 3 chords. And I was like, yeah. And he's like,
you said that.
Yeah, I did. But then we were playing a show, which was a clusterfuck. The show was just like the worst show ever. And it was his first show.
Aren't they all though?
No, not all of them.
I'm sure it wasn't that bad.
But no, it was bad. The sound man didn't show up, so we had like no sound. But anyway, I don't want to talk about how we got over that. My goal when I do a cover is I'll learn the cover, what key it's in, and then I'll get an idea of how it is with the lyrics, and then I will write my own version.
See, and that's the way to do it. When we were talking about those Cobras earlier, one of the covers that we have, he pitched it to me and I didn't know the song. And he's like, well, I got this other version of it. And I'm like, cool. I don't want to hear the original. I don't want to know how it goes. And so it turned out different because of that. But I think that's the way you should do covers. Like in a live setting, maybe do it the same. But yeah, if you're going to like actually spend time with it, record it or whatever, yeah, total reinterpretation.
I even think with your own songs, you should not do them the same. I change them on purpose because if you play the same thing you play on the CD, why even come? I mean, because if I'm going to see Steve Vai, maybe I want to see exactly what he did. Someone. But my stuff isn't about.
Now you're talking about guitar masturbation, Steve Vai.
My stuff is not. My stuff is more about the punchline. The people coming. It's not about me. I mean, I'm up there and I'm an idiot, but it's about them and what can we do to have a good time.
Sure, yeah.
How can we have a good time together?
Yeah. You don't always have to like challenge the fucking audience.
Yeah, you want to make them uncomfortable, not challenge them.
I mean, I depending on
that's what you do. That's what you do. That's not what most of us do.
Well, Mandy tells me that my favorite thing to do is to make people uncomfortable.
Oh, great. So there's 2 of you in the world.
Well,
that's
but
fantastic.
I'm just saying, but from what you're saying, yes. Like with my cover band, I'm like, whenever one of the guys, because we do mostly like 90s type stuff, every now and then somebody will pitch like, what if we did, a Civ song or a Rancid song? And I'm like, I like those songs, but will the audience know it? We're not trying to challenge the audience at our fucking...
Right, it's a cover band. When you're going to hear a cover band, it's you don't want the changes.
Or even if it's not covers, yeah.
If you're going to cover a song on an album, that's where the changes need to be.
Well, even
That's what I'm
if it's not
saying.
just a cover, yeah. But even if it's not a cover, you still like your audience.
Right.
like doing metal, challenge the audience. If you're
Right.
doing kind of rock songs, like bring them in. You want to keep that audience. That's who they are.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I don't know. I just kind of bastardize everything that I
This is
play.
surprising.
And I think a lot of musicians, once they get to a certain part, they just want to relax and just, kind of phone it in. And I change all my keys and do things differently so they can't do that. I hate it when people phone it in. Guitarists they do that all the time.
So before we end this interview,
Sorry.
I need to know what happened with the sound guy that did show up.
He didn't show up. So we got paid before we even started playing. And our bass player, he had one practice. He didn't even know all the songs. And I was like, we need to play. He needs to get this first gig under his belt. And I'm the kind of person that is, I'm going to play. I drove all this way. One person is here to see us. God damn it. We're going to play. And if we sound like shit, we're going to play.
Okay. So what happened? You played and it sounded like shit?
So fortunately, drummer is a loud drummer, so we didn't need to mic him up.
Nice.
The guitarist likes to mic his amp rather than go direct. The bass player is new, so I told him bring everything you think you're going to need to play. So he brought his bass. The owner, I was like, we want to play. You paid us. How can we make it happen? He goes, well, I don't know the sound system well enough. I go, can you point us in the right direction? He's like, no. And he goes, but I do have a small PA. And
No.
so I'm thinking,
Those are the gigs you charge more for.
okay. Okay. So what do you have? And so he goes, I have this little 2-channel thing. And I was like, 2 channels. Okay. That means 1 guitar, one vocal. And we have a vocalist now because the drummer sings and Jesse sings, who's the guitarist. So automatically that's cutting down our set, or we have to share mics. And I have little kids, so pretty much I always have some type of contagion running through the body or the household. So we set up this little tiny, it's literally has 2 little 4-inch speakers. It's 2 channels.
Okay.
And so we set it up kind of behind the drummer, pointing towards the drummer across the stage, but still forward enough so the sound of the vocals and the acoustic guitar will go out. And then he goes, oh, I have another one and we can daisy chain those together at home. And so he gets it. And that one is smaller than the one we hooked up.
Oh my God.
So we got it hooked up on on both sides, and I have it back behind the drummer, but pointing to where they kind of cross.
Hey, A for effort. That was
Yeah.
ingenious, kind of.
Yeah.
And so I had the bass player and drummer not directly in front of them, but in the crosshair so they could hear it. So the bass player would be behind him, but so he could hear the one behind him, but also push it towards the guitarist so the guitarist could hear it, and it could hit that side of the floor, the arena or whatever it was.
Arena.
And same thing. It was a big place.
Okay. So you like arena, goddamn, dude.
And so it was a big place, and it could have been a big show, but I'm glad it ended up turning out the way it did. So
well,
we
let me
got
tell you. I'm sorry. No, finish.
we got up there and we played, and halfway through, one of the speakers stopped working.
Of course
And so
Of course it did.
it was like, and it was the big one that went out, not the tiny one. So we were pretty much playing a show through this tiny little
In a big venue.
in a big venue.
Fan-fucking-tastic, but you
Well,
played.
We made it work, and I was as sarcastic as I needed to be. And the drummer got his second gig under his belt. The bass player got his first gig under his belt, and that's how you know if people can handle it. Because the drummer was like, the guitars, Jesse was like, fuck this, I don't want to do this. And I was like, we have to do this. There's no way we're getting out of this. I came here to play. We're going to fucking play.
Yeah.
And then the drummer was like really pissed off because he loves to sing and he wants to sing and play drums and he's constantly working on himself. And he's like, we're going to look bad. And I was like, we have to play this. It's like there are some gigs you just have to play because they're so fucked up.
Sure.
Because you learn from it. And then the bass player was like, I don't give a fuck. I'm going to suck anyway. And I was like, let's go. I was like, we are at the bottom. It cannot possibly get worse than this. And then that second speaker died, and it got worse. It was funny. But after that, the only other thing worse that could happen was the whole sound just stopped. But we made it. We played 2.5, 3 hours.
Wow.
We
I was
survived.
giving it like an hour tops.
So the very first Chest Rockwell show, and this is the band I've been doing for 20 fucking years. The very first show, my microphone was going through a guitar amp. So imagine how horrible that was.
That's got to sound just absolutely horrible.
Oh, it's terrible. And then the first song, we were a 3-piece at the time. I was playing guitar, and the bassist, our headstocks butted. Knocked us both out of tune. First fucking song. And it was just like, God damn it. Like, is this like an omen of the whole band right now?
The omen.
And like looking back on it 20 years later, it's like it was. Like that was the setup for the whole thing. Singing through a guitar amp and going out of tune in the first goddamn song we ever played live.
You're lucky you didn't break your headstock or something, you know?
It was just one of those like bumps where like it hits like 2 pegs, you know,
okay.
where you're like, fuck, which ones did it hit, you know? But yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know. I kind of like diversity, you know, when you're challenged.
Yeah. Every now and then, like, where you have a practice and, like, something gets weird and you work it out and you're like, I'm kind of glad that happened. I wanted to see us work that out, how that was going to go. Yeah.
So now if something like that happens again on stage, we know what we're...
Yeah, you feel like, oh, we're pros now. We fixed a fuck up, you know? Like, we should have never fucked up,
Yeah.
But
that's okay. We won't focus on that.
Yeah, I constantly tell the guys, look, practice is the closest we're going to get to perfect. Mm-hmm. I go, when we get to the show, shit's going to go crazy. I go, it's just how it is. So whatever you're holding on to, let it go when you get to the show. You just go and try to be entertaining and have the people have a good time. So, you know, our stuff is not about, we don't want to suck. We want to we want to sound talented, but the goal is to entertain, not to show people virtuosity, I guess.
Yeah, you know, like jerking off in front of them, like, look at what I
did. Thank you for hanging out with us. If you would like, follow, subscribe, comment, share us with your friends, share us with your family, share us with people you like, people you don't like. Just share us, man. And remember to